Greg, Joyce, I got to get your take on what's going on with Devin Williams. First and foremost, thanks for hopping on with us in such short notice. But here's a guy that's allowed 13 earned runs in his first 11 and two-third innings as a Yankee. That's the same number he gave up over the past two seasons combined across 80 and one-third innings with the Brewers. The fan base is losing their patience. But what do you think about Aaron Boone putting him in a high leverage situation last night after already removing him as the closer?
Yeah, his last three before last night had been pretty good, and kind of in some medium leverage spots. There was one eighth inning in there in a 3-0 game that he pitched well in. And to be fair, last night it was the bottom of the Padres order coming up. So, that's a part of the order that should be able to handle. Boone also had options. Fernando Cruz had pitched the last two, thrown two pitches to finish off the seventh inning. Boone said he considered leaving him in for the eighth, but he had thrown two innings on Saturday night, and they're trying not to overwork their bullpen this early in the season. A bullpen that's had to throw a lot of innings because a lot of their starters have been going short. So he's trying to keep that in mind and said it was a situation that was set up for Devin. Kind of like we said, the 7, 8, 9 hitters in that lineup. So theoretically, it seems like it should have been a good spot, but the command struggles kind of came back to bite him. He still said he felt like he has turned a corner, and he didn't think last night kind of lumped into his earlier struggles. He kind of pointed to the landing spot on the mound just because of the wet conditions kind of affecting the release point on his fastball. So obviously, both teams were playing in the same conditions, and the adjustment wasn't made in time to kind of save that one. But yeah, it was just a rough one, especially at home. The fans grumbling. It's kind of not going away here. It seemed, the three scoreless outings he put in between getting removed from the closer's job and last night. It's not a ton of goodwill that built him up. So he's kind of got to get back on track here, and it'll be interesting to see what he does his next time out when if it's better conditions for him to see if he truly has turned that corner.
Yeah, I feel like he didn't do himself a favor even mentioning those conditions because when you're struggling, and people have had it with you, a lot of people are going to say that sounds like some sort of excuse. I wonder though, here's a guy that played in Milwaukee, he shined. Now he's here in New York, and you know what it's like about when it comes to playing and performing in front of Yankees fans and just New York City in general. So how do you feel like he's handling the pressure of playing in the Bronx?
Yeah, it's still early, but it's been a rocky introduction, right? I think for any guy who's had success elsewhere, and then coming here and immediately getting off to a tough start, he doesn't have that goodwill built up that some other guys have had. I mean, the closer's role is especially tough just because it's the struggles are magnified because often it's losing a team a game that you felt like you should win. Like last night, that's a game the Yankees need to win. Up 3-0 in the eighth inning, and they've had a number of those this year where they've been up, had a lead in the eighth inning and not being able to close it out. So that grows. It's been a tough. It's tough for any guy to adjust. I thought Carlos Rodon was interesting on it last night. He said I've been through it. Obviously in 2023 when Rodon's first year with the Yankees, he was injured. Then when he was healthy, he struggled a lot. He was getting booed by fans. On most occasions that year when he pitched at home, even on the road by Yankees fans. So Rodon said, I've been through that. I know what that's like. But he said you need to keep on reminding Devin that, there's a reason that the Yankees went out and acquired him. He's one of the best closers in the game. He said he needs to kind of go out there and pitch with that swagger that he had in Milwaukee. So obviously that's easier said than done. But we've seen guys who have gotten off to rough starts and kind of righted the ship. Obviously he has some time left to do that this season. But he's got to kind of dig himself out of that hole, I think, before before it gets too late.
You mentioned the Yankees losing that lead in the eighth. That's their fifth loss this season when leading in the eighth inning or later, according to StatHead. That's the most in the majors. We talked about what he brings or what he was going to bring to the Yankees fighting this rough patch. Do you think he can retake the closer role and get back to being Airbender, the guy that everyone was excited about when they traded for him?
Yeah, we'll see. I know that's kind of a cop out, but I think in the Yankees' ideal world, obviously we've seen Luke Weaver have some success, in that closer's role last year, taking over for Clay Holmes. He's done it again the start of this year, although last night was the first earned run he's allowed this season, giving up the back-to-back two-run hits. Three of the runs were charged to Williams, but the go-ahead run was on Weaver. But by and large, he's had that success, and I think he obviously has a lot more of that goodwill built up from what he did here last year and the start of this year. But I think in an ideal world, they're able to use him as kind of put out fires, earlier in the game. Maybe that's sixth, seventh, eighth innings when the opposing team has the best part of their lineup coming up, and not just saving him for the ninth inning. So at their best, I think the Yankees do have Devin Williams closing, but obviously you need an effective Devin Williams and the pitcher that he was in Milwaukee, which the Yankees really haven't seen that yet. So we'll see. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens when, if Weaver continues to pitch well in that ninth inning. Like, when do you kind of pull that string to put Devin back there, and then, if he blows a save, then what happens? It seems like kind of a delicate situation, especially this early in the season when it's still a smallish sample size. But for the Yankees to be at their best, they need to get him right, and they keep on saying they're confident that he has the stuff is fine, that he has the equipment to do it. It's just a matter of doing it and kind of getting out of this. And like I said, like Devin said last night, he didn't think that he still feels like he's turned a corner. So we'll see what happens in his next outing. But they need to get him back on track with a sustained stretch here of good outings.
All right, well, the Yankees are back in action tonight. Hopefully they can get a W. Don't want to see this team lose four straight. Greg Joyce, thanks for hopping on with us in such short notice, my man.
You got it. Thanks, Brandon.